Welcome to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation's Circular Economy Show. I'm Colin.
I'm Lou, and today we'll be exploring cities, Latin America, and fashion. Hi everyone, it's great to be back, and even better to welcome the wonderful Webbo, aka Colin Webster, who's joined us all the way from sun-drenched Scotland.
Great to be here, Lou. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the show.
Yep, it's our pleasure. And today is an absolute double whammy because I'm also thrilled to introduce Ali Moore from ReLondon. Ali's going to tell us all about the exciting campaigns and initiatives the city's launching to empower Londoners to embrace the circular economy. Ali, welcome to the show.
Hi.
We've got a few questions for you.
Great.
Ali, hi. You work for ReLondon, but you used to be known as the London Waste and Recycling Board. Tell us about the brand renaming.
Yeah, so that happened about 2 years ago now, and it feels like we've been called ReLondon forever. So it happened because the London Waste and Recycling Board didn't really represent anymore what we are, who we are as an organisation, what we're passionate about. So although we still do very much work on waste and recycling, we were increasingly working on the wider circular economy, moving up the waste hierarchy, and the name no longer really represented who we were, what we did or why we did it. And it also, we had an issue which was that we had been developing programmes and a variety of different programme brands and websites over the years. We'd become increasingly fragmented and our stakeholders were a little confused about who we were and how it all fitted together. So it's given us a really great integrated platform to talk about the whole circular economy, not just waste and recycling, but everything to do with resource use and the climate emergency.
Oh, wow. So in terms of what you do then, can you tell us something about how you influence the choices that Londoners make?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, ReLondon we have three core stakeholder groups that we deal with. We work with local government, we work with businesses, and we work with citizens. And in each of those areas, we have different ways of enabling kind of better choice making, if you like. So with our local authority team, they do a lot of work around things like flats recycling projects where they remodel the way that recycling services work on estates or in different contexts. So they do a variety of different projects, and we use behavioural science to inform that and help people make choices that we want them to make rather than ones that are easy and not necessarily the most sustainable. In the business side of things, we work with small businesses to scale them and to help them amplify and talk about the products and services that they're creating. So we're providing more choices for people to buy circular products and services in the city by doing that. And then on the citizen side, we run a whole range of communications campaigns, talking to them about sustainable food choices, about circular textiles, about recycling, about repair, about a whole variety of things.
So it's a really collaborative effort. What sort of campaigns are you overseeing at the moment?
So we have a couple of food campaigns. We have London Recycles, which is our sort of core campaign that we run on behalf of the Mayor and the London boroughs. And as part of that, we run a thing called Repair Week every year. We've just finished our third year, which has been extremely successful. We have Love Not Landfill, which is a circular fashion or sustainable fashion campaign targeted at 16 to 24-year-olds with the goal of getting them never to throw their clothes in the bin. And then we have a campaign called Food Wave, that's an EU-funded one, collaborating with 30 partners across Europe.
Can you tell us about your new campaign, Eat Like a Londoner?
Of course, yeah. So it's a really interesting campaign that's come from a very interesting place. It started when we presented the London's Food Footprint Report at COP in Glasgow. And that was a report looking at the consumption-based emissions associated with our food behaviours in London. So a material flow analysis, food coming in, moving around, getting thrown away, so the waste and carbon hotspots around the city associated with food. And it identified a couple of scenarios that could really help. And one was diet and one was household food waste prevention. And so that turned into discussions and a consensus, an extraordinary consensus actually, amongst councils, amongst the GLA, with you guys, with the MacArthur Foundation, who've been really supportive throughout, that we actually needed a new campaign for the whole of London. And the London Council's One World Living programme kind of initiated it, and we've crowdfunded it, which is the first time we've ever done that. And so we have 26 London boroughs on board, and various other partners, including commercial ones. And we've turned it into this campaign, which is aiming to tackle diet, so a more plant-rich diet for the capital, and help Londoners reduce the food waste that they've got at home. So that's where it's come from.
So, Ellie, how does the campaign actually work? Who are you targeting here?
So we're targeting 21 to 44-year-olds, and in particular families with young children at home, because they're the people that we've identified as the highest food wasters in the capital. And we have created a hub of really rich content that we've pulled in from all over the place. So for the first time ever on a campaign like this, we have not decided to create all of our own content. We've realised that actually you're looking for tips about reducing food waste or cooking incredible kind of plant-rich meals. It's all out there already. There are billions of people producing this content probably to a higher level than we can on our very limited budgets. So we've created a hub, and we're creating social media and advertising to kind of point people at the hub and hopefully encourage people to sign up to follow content creators on Instagram, for instance, who the minute that they click to follow one of those influencers, they're getting nudged 2, 3, 4 times a week with new content to help them do the things that we want them to do, whereas we can only really afford to advertise to them once, twice, maybe 3 times a year. So that's the goal, is to get people connecting with all of that content that's already out there and start to kind of change their habits that way.
You work across local government, citizens and businesses. What would you say was the split?
Well, organisationally, it's about a third. For me personally, I run behaviour change campaigns directed to citizens, but I also do communications to businesses and local government. I think my balance is probably about 60% citizen, 60-70% citizen, and 30-40% business. But organisationally, we do quite a lot with businesses and local authorities. We combine it together. So for instance, a recent project, we worked with the London Borough of Bexley and connected them up with Olio, the food waste app, and Kitch, another app. And we worked collaboratively with them to advertise those 2 apps quite intensively in a particular neighbourhood in Bexley. And then we evaluated what impact it had on food waste and food waste behaviours. So that in that instance, we kind of, if you start taking a whole system view and you talk to all the different partners that may potentially be involved with it, and you get a very different experience and a different outcome. So we connect it all up together all the time in different ways.
Ali, thanks for coming in and telling us all about ReLondon today.
Thanks for having me.
From one city implementing a circular economy to another, Barcelona's superblocks initiative has rerouted cars to make space for pedestrians, for cyclists, for group gatherings and for more greenery. Let's go back into our archives to look at our documentary System Reset to find out how the city has been successfully rejuvenating urban spaces since 2018.
We need to change our economy for another strategy based in information and knowledge. And we need to change objects for services. We need to reduce the consume of the resources. We have to desmaterialize the economy. If not, we don't have future. It depends on how we organize the future of our cities. We need, at the end, regenerate the cities and metropolises.
Our cities are not blank sheets of paper. To reverse decades of urban planning decisions takes time and a compelling vision. Barcelona's Superblocks initiative has gained international renown for setting system conditions to enable much more social and economic interaction.
So the Superblock is an urban mobility plan that has been developed by Barcelona Ecologia Urbana. is an office of ecology and planning here in Barcelona led by Salvador Rueda. They decided to apply this master plan that merges 9 urban blocks of the typical Barcelona Cerdà grid and reduces the mobility in the interior of the block. So the majority of the traffic happens in the periphery, opening up a big percentage of public space in the interior of the block. It is a very controlled traffic inside, which means, on the one hand, low velocity, but on the other hand, not everybody can cross the block in order to move from one point to another, but only the residents can enter, and then the ones that they really want to move, they use the periphery. So this, all of a sudden, it gives back to a neighborhood like more than 65 or 70% of public space. It also reduces, like danger of traffic accidents. And more importantly, it increases the quality of air because it's actually reducing contamination from traffic.
We have more than 50 activities, different activities developed inside of the new superblock. Because the flexibility of the public space is different. But if you want to obtain all of these rights, if you want to develop all these uses, is only possible if you change the current urban mobility model. If not, it's not possible. And the superblocks allow us to open a new city with a urban quality very high and a quality of life incredible.
Since recording that documentary, it's been reported that in some superblocks, pollutants such as nitrogen dioxide have actually fallen by 25% and noise by 9 decibels. In fact, the World Health Organization have said that if these superblocks were more widely established across the city, the health benefits could prevent more than 700 deaths a year.
Right, now we're off to Sao Paulo in Brazil, where the supermarket shelves are starting to fill up with some fascinating options.
Circular design for food is about creating food products in a way that helps nature thrive. And how are retailers part of this design?
É importante pensar que a prateleira ela é a vitrine de toda uma cadeia.
O varejo ele cumpre um papel muito importante, né, de criar tendências e pode ter um papel bem relevante em suprir diversidade de nutrientes e de ingredientes.
We talk to businesses that have chosen to give space on their shelves to products that are helping ecosystems. To do so, they are changing their relationship with suppliers, supporting smallholder farmers, and drawing consumers' attention to these products.
Em 2018, a gente tem uma mudança na estratégia da companhia global, porque nós elaboramos o movimento Act for Food. Ele é a resposta da companhia, frente às necessidades planetárias. Nós temos que repensar os sistemas alimentares, olhar para as cadeias produtivas e, consequentemente, garantir que futuras gerações possam ter alimentação. Grande parte do nosso portfólio hoje, ele tem como estratégia aumentar ou ampliar produtos que ajudam na preservação natural dos biomas. Produtos que, até mesmo pelo desconhecimento do consumidor, não são consumidos e que, a partir do momento que você passa a ter o consumo, você apoia a produção dele e, consequentemente, diminui a necessidade de que um produtor faça uma conversão de áreas ou faça o desmatamento da sua propriedade, desenvolvendo culturas que apoiam, inclusive, a manutenção desse bioma.
Os alimentos já nascem regenerando e quando chegam no consumidor eles voltam plantando, cultivando a terra e curando o solo para que ainda venham alimentos ainda mais nutritivos.
Os produtos da nossa terra é uma das estratégias de dar visibilidade para o consumidor desses produtos que a gente está falando. Então, muitas vezes, você coloca uma banana do lado de outra banana, para o consumidor, aquilo ali é uma coisa só. Mas a partir do momento que você coloca que essa banana ela foi produzida por um produtor X ou com um sistema produtivo Y, você dá um destaque em relação ao cliente. Ele passa a ver que aquela outra banana ali foi produzida com critérios, com atributos ligados a um impacto social positivo, ao impacto ambiental positivo. Os produtos da nossa terra, eles ganham prateleiras específicas para que o cliente possa ter essa interação, minimamente entender que aquele produto é um produto nativo, é um produto local e que ele apoia, né, através da compra dele, esse tipo de propósito que está por trás desses produtos. O movimento Act for Food ele faz diferença, porque em alguns produtos eu não tenho uma vantagem comercial imediata. Eu preciso fazer o cliente se habituar com aquele produto para que ele possa ganhar a preferência dele. A nossa aposta de inclusão ela vem muito em linha com isso. Primeiro, dar oportunidade para que esses produtos ganhem mercado, ganhem a popularidade dos clientes e, consequentemente, você vai fazer com que, no médio e longo prazo, você tenha, no caso nosso, maior vantagem econômica.
A conexão do nosso negócio com o design circular de alimentos se baseia, né, na busca por ingredientes que venham de sistemas regenerativos, biodiversos e desse modelo de upcycling, né, de reaproveitamento do todo, da integralidade. Por exemplo, o cacau bru é uma bebida de cacau e ela é feita com a amêndoa inteira do cacau e adicionada a casca do cacau, que tradicionalmente é descartada e acaba compondo uma bebida linda, né? Um bom exemplo de upcycling. Nós temos bastante consciência de que o markup, a margem de lucro que nós praticamos, ela não vai ser de um negócio tradicional, que produz alimentos em escala, né? E com ingredientes muitas vezes frutos de commodities, com altamente processados, com pouca interação humana e sem rastreabilidade. A gente entende e faz parte desse jogo, dessas regras do jogo. E nós estamos dispostos a sentar à mesa, porque nós sabemos que o lucro acaba sendo uma composição maior se somados o nosso resultado com o do produtor, com os benefícios do consumidor e o impacto geral que causa para a natureza, né? Aí é infinitamente maior. Então é esse resultado que a gente busca, ele é composto.
A gente enxerga muito o ganho em rede, né? Como nós, como um varejista, podemos influenciar toda uma rede de conexões que a gente tem, do consumidor ao fornecedor, ao produtor, até mesmo ao nosso investidor, porque para todas essas pessoas que se relacionam conosco, o importante é fazer com que esses produtos que têm esses atributos regenerativos ganhem a preferência de todos.
Não existe viabilidade financeira e sustentabilidade do que a gente faz se não for uma atuação sistêmica, né? Desde a forma de cultivar até a forma de comercializar e de se relacionar.
A transição alimentar ela é o pano de fundo de tudo que a gente está construindo. Nosso interesse não é aumentar o portfólio de produtos, mas aumentar o número de produtos que tenham esses impactos positivos para as pessoas, para o planeta e, consequentemente, para os nossos clientes.
A escala que nós queremos buscar é a escala do modelo, desse modelo regenerativo, onde vários pequenos chegam a uma produção alimentar gigante e positiva e diversa.
Não é só uma questão de estratégia, é uma questão de responsabilidade com o futuro. E a gente tem poder de dar visibilidade para produtos que impactam positivamente a natureza, impactam a vida das pessoas, impactam a saúde de todo mundo. No longo prazo, o que vai existir é a exclusão de produtos que não têm esse propósito. No final das contas, vão ter produtos que vão ter espaços e outros que não vão ter mais.
Okay, welcome back to the studio. Lou, I love that film, and I'll tell you why. Because they're growing food the way it should be done, regeneratively.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the way they showed the effort that retailers and the producers put into the market, the way they market processes for the general public, so everyone knows what they're going to get and what good's going to come out of it.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, so we've heard of the superblocks initiative in Barcelona. We've seen the regeneratively grown food in Sao Paulo, and we've heard how the City of London is eliminating food waste.
Eliminating waste, the very first principle of the circular economy. Colin, what do we actually mean?
Well, it's good that you asked that question, Lou, because here's something I prepared earlier. The circular economy presents an opportunity to transform our current linear system into one that's good for business, people, and the environment. But how can we explain all of what the circular economy has to offer?
We developed 3 core principles, all driven by design. And in this video, we're summarising the first of those: eliminate waste and pollution. I think everyone recognises we have a waste problem. There are 2 ways you can deal with this. You can do a clean-up, or you can design waste out in the first place. And designing it out is the circular economy way. As you might expect, companies around the world have been eliminating waste and pollution through good design. Let's have a look at a few.
A bunch of our fruit and veg at the supermarket comes packaged in single-use plastic. The plastic is used to keep the goods clean and fresh, but we throw it away once we get home. Well, Appeal came up with a solution. They've designed an edible plant-based coating that, once applied to fruit and veg, slows down water loss and oxidation, allowing the produce to stay fresher for longer. The food lasts longer, less food is wasted, and they've designed out single-use plastic. Next, here's a familiar material: polystyrene. In order to protect delicate goods from damage, they're often packaged with polystyrene. The material does its job, but it instantly becomes a waste problem once we no longer need it. Now, Ecovative have designed a circular material which combines mushroom roots and low-value agricultural feedstock. This nature-friendly alternative to polystyrene grows quickly and can be moulded into any shape. And the smartest thing is, once you've done with using Ecovative materials, they can be composted at home where they add value to the soil. I could go on to talk about refillable packaging solutions, to gene designers who make new from old, or how rice husks can be transformed into biochar. The point is, there's already a lot of ingenuity out there. Many firms and designers are living the first principle of the circular economy already. But we shouldn't just look at this from a product level. Waste comes in many forms, including space. If we design buildings in a modular way, then when they're no longer needed as, say, an office, they could be transformed into something more appropriate. That way our spaces will always remain relevant and useful. But what of pollution? Well, as you can imagine, simply by eliminating waste, some of the associated pollution's already dealt with. But the circular economy's power to tackle pollution doesn't stop there. If we design products and services to be circular, and in doing so if we made better material choices and cut out the leaking of toxins into the environment, then there are significant environmental benefits that follow. In our climate change report, we found if we are to apply circular economy strategies in just 5 key areas, we can eliminate more than 20% of emissions from the production of goods. That's 9.3 billion tonnes of carbon dioxide equivalent in 2050. The same savings we'd make if we cut all current emissions from transport to zero.
And that's before we even talk about switching to renewable energy, which is obviously something we want to see too. With the right willpower and design, we really can eliminate waste and pollution.
Brilliant. And of course, all 3 of the circular economy principles are driven by design, as we saw in our earlier examples of cities and food in this very show. Colin's coming back over the next couple of months to do a deep dive on the other 2 principles, circulate and regenerate.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get rid of me.
Thankfully, yeah.
Okay, now we are going to switch to our big questions section of the show. And joining us right now is Jules Lennon. And Jules, you are the lead for the fashion team here at the MacArthur Foundation. Yeah. Thanks for joining us and being put through this process.
No worries, I'm ready for the questions.
Great, great. First question for you is this. The fashion industry is renowned for having real problems when it comes to waste and pollution. Do those problems start and finish with fast fashion?
Well, today, pretty much the entire fashion industry operates under the same model, relying on increased throughput and number of seasons. In fact, very little clothing is actually designed to be remade, recycled, or repaired. the fashion system is broken, and today a lot of businesses have taken action to try and address some of this. Maybe they've looked at reducing CO2 emissions or water usage, and these efforts are essential. However, if we want to create a thriving, nature-positive fashion industry, we need to fundamentally transform the way we design, make, and use products. And for that, we need a circular economy.
We want to be part of that solution to the fashion industry that is currently broken. So Colin and I, fortunately, are both off to a mutual friend's wedding in Saint-Tropez on their super yacht in July. How, Jules, keeping within circular economy, do we attain the appropriate attire?
Well, luckily, there are some solutions that exist. So we could have a look at circular business models. Now, these are things like repair, remaking, rental and resale. And what's great is not only are you going to look fantastic, these business models actually, our research has shown, have potentially great economic and environmental benefits. We're talking about a $700 billion market opportunity by 2030. And if done well, these could offer 1/3 of the emissions reductions required to put the fashion industry on the 1.5 degree pathway. So you're going to look good and potentially have economic and environmental benefits. But how are you going to access these? Well, let's think about, maybe you might want to rent an outfit, maybe you want to go for a resale platform, maybe you're going to buy it from someone else. But in both cases, these are not new products. We're going to get products that already exist. So what are you going for? Kilt?
I think a kilt on a boat's probably a bit risky.
Yeah, not quite right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll need something else.
Okay, we're going for full suit?
Yeah, I reckon.
And Lou?
Well, clearly a bin bag would look good, but I'd like something that would possibly hide the bingo.
We're going for a full-length gown?
Full-length gown.
So the gown and the suit have arrived, but you know that someone else already owned or has worn this item. So what are you looking out for? What are you hoping for?
I would like it to look the part. Expensive, but it must be clean. I'll be looking for any little snags.
Yeah.
And anything that doesn't make it look brand new, to be honest.
Right, and these concerns might be shared by others. And actually, this is why when we're looking at circular business models, it's really important that the design at the very beginning of that garment has been being used many times in mind. So these items need to have been designed to be durable, to be able to be cleaned. If maybe a bead comes off or lace is torn, actually that it can be repaired. Because if you only wore it once or twice, or multiple people only wore it once or twice and it was misshapen, actually you wouldn't be getting those environmental and economic benefits because it'd probably be landfilled or incinerated. So that's really important. The design has gone hand in hand with how you're going to use it. So you've been on the super yacht, you've got home, photos look amazing. What are you now going to do with these items? You rented it, so you're going to return it, but that means a lot of systems need to exist in terms of supply chain and infrastructure for that to be possible. There's going to be someone who's going to clean that so that someone else can use it, and also they'll check it to make sure that no repairs are required before it can go on and be used again. Lou, you bought yours on a resale platform. Maybe you decide to sell it on and make some money for yourself.
Maybe. Sounds like a good idea to me.
So Lou's looking to make a bit of money from the back end of this. How do firms make money from this model?
Yeah, so making the economics work for circular business models is a really hot topic for discussion. These models are booming. There's been multiple hitting billion-dollar valuations, but they don't always provide the economic benefits that they say they will for businesses, and this is due to various reasons. One is supply chains. So supply chains for today in our global economy are optimized for one way. And in this case, we just talked about the fact that we need effectively a global and local infrastructure to connect you or I who are using them with repair services, with cleaning services, with reverse logistics to get them back and then redistributed to the next person who's going to use them. Again, there's also things around the business itself, thinking about how they want to interact with customers, what incentives or rewards might they want to offer you or I for engaging with those, and also the performance indicators and metrics they themselves are assessing success on.
Jules, thanks very much for coming in and answering these questions.
No worries.
I'm hearing Jules tell us that this isn't just about the design of the products, but the business model and even the KPIs to change customer behaviours around everything too. We hope that you really enjoy the big questions section here in the Circular Economy Show. And there's great news. If you want to get involved in this section, you can. Just send in your questions to us using the hashtag AskTheCE Show.
And don't forget, give us a follow or subscribe to watch us on YouTube. You'll be notified every single time the CE Show is about to be broadcast, or indeed whenever we post some new content. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you all again soon.